Hey there, this is Herl Olson from the Jackson Fishing Team. Again, working on, I think this is my fourth streamer pattern for if I make it up to the Rangeley area for doing some streamer fishing. And the fly that we're going to be tying is called the Light Edson Tiger. It's also got a sister or a brother style fly. It's called the Dark Edson Tiger. But we're going to be tying the light one. And Bill Edson from Maine, back I think in 1929, he created this fly and he was using long shanked hooks with it. But of course you could probably tie it anything from a 4 to 6, maybe a 7, 9, whatever length it is. But I'm tying it on a 6X. And both those flies, the Dark and the Light Edison, were on the cover of the Maine Fish and Wildlife magazine back in the late 70s. He also, we'll talk about the materials, and he created some brass eyes or gold eyes that you could use, and we'll point those out and maybe suggest some other materials if you can't find these metal cheeks or metal eyes that we're going to look at. So let's take a look at this fly and we'll get tying it. This here's the Light Edison. Peacock Herl. It's using some black barred wood duck fibers for the tail, some yellow bucktail, and the original recipe called for red hackle tips, 2 for up here, but I modified it, or my version is actually just using the hackle part of off the stem on there, and then these here are that's the brass or the gold eyes that they're called Edson eyes, and we'll go with on that there. That's what we're going to tie ours on. You could use jungle cock, other substitutes, maybe even a starling, or maybe you could just maybe want it to paint the eyes on. But we're gonna go with these metal things. Will allow a little extra weight, on there. So the hook that we're gonna use is, I'm tying it on a TMC 300. It's 6X long in the size 8 for this pattern. You could use anywhere from a 6, 8, or 10 on there. Let me debarb that hook, and we'll get tying on there. Okay, I'm going to use some 6/0 black thread. We'll start this about an eye width behind the eyes. And we'll wrap this back to where the barb of the hook used to be. That was tough. And our next material we're going to put on is going to be some medium and gold silver tinsel. We're going to put a gold tag on there. So we're going to tie that on with the silver pointing out. That way when we wrap it, the gold will be out for the tag end. Let me move that out of the way a little bit. And we're just going to go just past the barb, or just past the bend of the hook a little bit. You know, it's basically just a hint of gold underneath the tail. Next, what we'll do is we're going to put our small or fine ribbing in. And again, the reason why I go up is I'm trying to keep I'm using small gold. And trying to keep the body as, I don't know, parallel or smooth, or, you know, eliminate some of the bumps in there. On that part. Alright, our next material is some wood duck for the tail. And we're going to kind of treat this like golden pheasant tippets. By when we cut it off, we're going to try to keep them bars, the black and white, together, and we're going to fold it in half. And about maybe a third of the body, or a little less. For the tail. I think if you had any other type of wood duck or mallard flank, you could probably use that if it's not the black and white, but traditionally it's been the black and white on the tips. But if you don't have that, use whatever you got. And then before I move the thread back, we're going to take 3 or 4 strands of some Peacock Herl for the body. And I'm just going to trim off the tips. And just tie those in it up by the eye of the hook. Use it to build up the body a little bit. And I'm going to come up maybe about halfway or a third. Just in case if those fibers start wanting to separate, I got the thread to hold it in place. But this is the tricky part, making sure I don't clip those peacock herls against the point of the hook to cut them. Body's coming out pretty good to me. And we'll tie off our peacock right here. And we'll trim this tag end off. And then we'll counter wrap the gold wire just to reinforce the peacock herl. And you want to make sure that your wire is evenly spaced. You know, 4 to 6 wraps probably will look good. And we'll helicopter off the excess. Alright, the next part of material is going to be some yellow bucktail. And when it comes to bucktail, try to cut it from the center areas, you know, in this area right through here, you know. It's going to be not as hollow as it is closer to the base of the tail. And what we're going to do is kind of remove any under fur or under hair in there. Try to I'm going to go ahead and put the rest in the stacker here. And again, we're going to pull them out the direction we want to tie them on. And we don't want these fibers really maybe just go past the bend of the hook. And then I'm going to trim off the excess with a little angle on it. And try to maintain that on the top. Looks pretty good. And then we're going to take a hackle feather on there. And like I said, the original would take like some of these tips off. You'd want at least 2 tips, but I'm going to cheat and just use the filaments here. And you're not going to want it very long, maybe just a third. And make sure it's on the top a little bit. Push down it, kind of spread them out a little bit. Kind of clean up the head a little bit. Our next material will be those Edson brass eyes on there. And they kind of maybe look like little spoons, I guess. I don't know. But we're going to trim them down, and the concave side is going to face into the thing. So we're going to just trim them off. They are made out of little metal. we'll take the other one and we're going to trim it off as well. Don't use your scissors. Alright, then we got those on there and we'll just give it a whip finish. And we'll trim off our thread. We'll apply a little head cement. And there we have it, the Light Edson Tiger. I understand it's a great fly for brook trout in lakes and ponds. Some people have had success with it in the rivers for them. So anyway, there we have. So it's a pretty good fly, especially what's unique about it is the eyes. I guess jungle cock might suit it very well, but they're kind of hard to locate. It took me a while. I did find them from whitetail fly tying supplies. They're not that expensive, but if you needed to, you could use gold mylar. You could probably use the gold mylar tinsel and maybe round off the edges a little bit, you know, on there, and or maybe some mylar sheeting, maybe a little bit bigger than medium. You might want to go large or extra large, or get some sheeting and kind of cut off a little round thing in there with a tag end to tie it in, and voila, you'd have those eyes. Alright, this is Darrell Olson. I hope you give it a try. Tie this fly. It's not that hard as you saw on there. And we'll be tying one more streamer, and then we'll tie a pretty unusual dry fly that we're up in that area. Anyway, this is Darrell Olson. We'll see you on the water.